with us, whether it's the YouTube live stream or recording. Fantastic interviews. Hey, welcome guys coming on now. And I'm refocusing now that I've got that figured out. I was really confusing myself for a second. Let me go ahead and make people speakers who are coming on. Alrighty. Okay, so a couple of you have some invites to speak, and we're gonna kick right off with getting into all this great news that has come out this week about the Acolyte. Okie dokie. So the first thing I actually want to share is this awesome meme that someone posted that I just adored because it really it really made me laugh. They did this little like Family Guy style meme um, of May from The Acolyte. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. So I just posted that to the space for you guys. But I really want to talk about uh, all of these articles that have been featuring the Acolyte this week. We've seen most of all, and we're going to get to Manny, we're going to get to JJ, we're going to get to everybody. But we've seen Entertainment Weekly has named The Acolyte as its #1 show whose cancellation hurt the most out of any canceled show. And I have to agree, absolutely. Um, the Acolyte should have not been canceled. Why did they do that? That was a weird decision, Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars. Oh, and I was so discombobulated at the top of the hour that I forgot. Let me go ahead and just say to Disney and Star Wars and Lucasfilm, we want our show back. Hey, you need to renew The Acolyte for seasons 2 and 3 and the movie, which we will get to because Manny talked about that in one of his appearances, which was so cool. But so Entertainment Weekly had a bunch of features talking about the Acolyte this week. There was so much Acolyte news, and the Acolyte even was trending here and probably on Blue Sky, even though we don't have Blue Sky trending yet. But Entertainment Weekly said they want the Acolyte back. They said to Disney and Lucasfilm, hey, reverse this decision. It was a bad decision. We really like this show. And so, yeah, let's talk about that while I look for that tweet.
Yeah, I think for me, like obviously we speak highly of the Acolyte, but to hear so many different sources with different focuses speaking so highly of it and kind of asking the same questions that we are, I think it
Mm-hmm.
legitimizes our point of view. Because, I mean, of course we're biased, right? but and
Mhm.
they may be biased as well, like the individual authors or whatever, but at the same time, so many different outlets and different people and even people who are critical of it are still like, I mean, yeah, it had its problems, which I don't think it had problems. I think it was perfect. But either way, they're
Right.
still like, there's still more story to tell. Like, it's the first season, it was 8 episodes. Like, there were clearly big, good story arcs coming up, and you just cut it. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Mhm. Exactly. Um, it's good to get that validation, and it's good to see people talking about that, who are outside of these circles, who are outside of the Star Wars and Acolyte circles where we've been in for the last 6 months. People outside of these circles saying, "Hey, have you guys heard about this show? It's really great." Who
Yeah,
else wants to
to
say
watch.
something about that?
Like, people just discovering it now, like, hey, why was this? This is pretty good. Like, what's going on? Like people that aren't like super fans are watching it, like finally getting around to it and seeing what
Hmm.
we see. So that's nice. I mean, it kind of hurts to see because it's like, dang, but at the same time, it's nice because it's like I'm not crazy. This is a good show. Like,
Right, exactly, exactly. Like all the gaslighting, all the trolls are constantly doing to us, constantly trying to tell us that it's bad because of this or that. It's just bad writing, which we know it's not bad writing. That's objectively false. Um, that the budget was too big, that the general audience doesn't care about this. It's not true. This is a show that a variety of people really like, and they don't just have to be super fans. It's like average fans really enjoying the show. So there was a whole bunch of other news that came out too. So I'm going to go over those before we get to Manny and JJ and Jodie. Not only did Entertainment Weekly list The Acolyte as its cancellation that hurt the most in 2024, which was deserved, bring us back the show. uh, Entertainment Weekly and IndieWire both add episode 5, Night, which was that episode where Kamir's going crazy in the forest on all the Jedi, poor Jecki and poor Yord, to their list of best episodes of 2024. And US Weekly listed Oshamir as their favorite new couple of 2024. So all very much deserved, very much deserved. We love to see all of these accolades. We love to see these magazines giving the accolades where they're deserved. Because, yeah, Oshamir is a great new couple that should be praised. And episode 5 was amazing. And it deserves, I don't know, an Emmy or something. I also went ahead and posted in the space the variant cover. So there are a whole bunch of variant covers coming out, and one of them has new artwork of Osha and May looking beautiful and amazing. And it's just a variant cover, so they're not getting a comic story, to the best of my knowledge. But they do have that beautiful, awesome cover there. So that's really cool. Okay, now let's get into the story that kicked off our week, which was Manny Jacinto. So much news about Manny. Uh, I will just say that the beautiful, amazing Maggie from Collider was interviewing him at the last convention, which was at Fan Expo in San Francisco last Saturday. And so she was the panel moderator, got to ask him some of those juicy questions, and got a lot of good stuff out of him. Most of all, him saying, "We could come back?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. And I think that set everybody off for sure. Like, oh my God, what did he say? We could come back? That's what I think. Let's talk about that.
he knew what he was doing. He was talking to us. He was to
Yes.
keep the hope alive, is what he was telling me.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, it's true. Like, regardless of like what we're seeing now, again, there have been shows that have been off for longer that have come back from literally like these shows ain't coming back, and then they pop up with a new season. So it's
Mhm.
possible, and I love that he's like a bigger fan than we are. I love that.
Yeah. Yes. Me too. So was he just dangling some hope in front of us who are working so hard? He sounded pretty hopeful, I thought.
I just feel like in my bones that stuff is happening behind the scenes, like they're in meetings and stuff. Like I
Hmm.
just really feel it, and maybe Delulu is the Salulu. I don't know, but I just feel it in my bones.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I also feel it that something is happening, some secret workings. And for me, him saying we could come back the way that he said was, I don't think he would say that if there was no hope that he was aware of. The way that he said it made me feel like
Yeah.
he knows something. He knows something.
And the timing of this, I mean, every
Mhm.
time something happens in this fandom, the timing is
Mhm.
always pretty wild to me. So
Mhm.
for this to come like right after our last space where we were kind of talking about renewal and things,
Right.
and for it to be like just out of the blue, it was just text at first, like the one tweet that was talking about the details. And then
Mhm.
the news article that was directly quoting Manny, and then the video. It just was like it just kept coming, and so it was like I keep saying the same thing. Why would he say that? Why would he say that if
Mhm.
it didn't mean anything? Like I keep going back and forth in my head. If 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 it was really a done deal, he wouldn't need to say, "Oh well, we could." And I feel like even if it was, his tone would have been different.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
hearing it on that recording, the way he said it, and the way it reads when he says, not to give false hope, it's like it sounds like he's saying not to give false hope about what could happen in the story next, as opposed
Mhm.
to not to give false hope about it coming back at all. It's
Yep.
like, why would you say that, Manny? What are you trying to say? What is going on?
Yes.
Don't
And I
tease
do
us.
want to say, I see Force Time. Hey, came on as a speaker. Great to see you in this space. Force Time hosts a Star Wars podcast, which is really awesome. And they're super friendly to the Acolyte. And so it's awesome to see you here in the space with us. And yeah, would love to hear your thoughts.
Hey, can everybody hear me? Hopefully, yeah. No,
Yeah.
thanks for having me. I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate what everybody in this group is doing because I mean, we're almost at half a year since the Acolyte ended, right? July. I mean,
Hmm.
we're at 5 months, almost 5 months, almost 6 months, and the conversation has not died down at all. And I think that has to do so
Hmm.
much with this group here, so much with what I see on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. The popularity for Manny in the context of the Acolyte isn't
Hmm.
happening without these conversations continuing. So I just want to say thank you all for doing that because it's, like you were saying earlier, shows have come back and there's a precedent for that. It's happened time and time again. And I mean,
Yes.
a billboard on Times Square, come on, that's amazing. I mean, it's so cool. And
Yes.
I've heard of some other ideas of kind of what the group is going to do next and pushing it forward. So no, I really appreciate everybody here pushing that conversation forward. And yeah, when I heard Manny say that too, just to go back to that conversation, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that gave me hope. You're not going to say not to give you false hope if you're not going to give some hope to people because he knows. He knows. He sees the comments. He sees the conversation just like everybody else does. And yeah, I'm excited to keep pushing forward because there's so much more story to tell. And yeah, I'm fully on board with everybody in this group. But no, everybody here is leading the way, and I appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate you and love your thoughts for sure. Definitely want to dig really deep into it as far as we can dig into it because we need that emotional clarity for ourselves to keep moving forward, pushing forward. We need to dig into the depths of each of these comments.
Yeah,
And can I just say, like, really personally, I really appreciate y'all's support first time. You've been one of those in our corner. So yeah, just thank you from me, from the group. Really appreciate it.
absolutely. I'm happy to follow and listen to everybody here, and kind of y'all are leading the way, and I'm just there and happy to push that conversation forward for sure.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that. All right. So yeah, let's come back to the matter at hand. Manny's comments. We could come back. Another comment that happened was we had a someone who attended the convention, and Maggie kind of verified through emoji, and then the person also DM'd one of our members and said that she was in fact at this convention. She made a tweet that said that Manny told the audience that the original plan for the Acolyte was 3 seasons and a movie. 3 seasons and a movie. So that got everyone kind of insane for the last week, I think.
Listen, that set it off.
Right,
My timeline for a good 24 hours was
right,
3 seasons and a movie.
right. I'm
Like,
tired.
I'm not gonna lie, my
I,
chest started hurting when I saw that 3 seasons and a movie. This is
yeah,
what
And
you
a
took from us.
movie.
Like,
yeah.
ugh, I'm sick. I'm sick.
Right, right.
Fell to my knees, rolled around on the ground a little bit,
Mm-hmm. And I
punched the
loved that.
pillow.
I punched the pillow. I loved that that post you made on the blue place, Zay, where you were asking us what we'd want to see in the 3 seasons in a movie.
Yeah.
That was awesome. For me, I was like, season 2, I really want to see them dig into Plagueis, and season 3, I wanted to see more I forget what I said, but more like Star Wars intrigue. And then the movie, I wanted to just be full melodramatic romance story, people screaming each other's names across the distance, falling to their knees. I need all of that.
Yeah, I was happy to I was curious. Like once it hit the timeline and people were like, "Oh my goodness, I'm waking up to this news," and "Oh my goodness, what is this coming
Mm-hmm.
from?" I was just like, "Okay, so we got to get to the nitty-gritty." So I mean, I got a lot of good responses, and if we have time, I can like skim over some of them. I have them pulled up. But it was really
Mm-hmm.
cool to hear from people like where their minds were going. Like, for example, some of the good responses I got were, people wanted to see May and Osha tap into their witchy powers. Alicia said that. um
Mm. I
Milo
love that.
said that she would love if Osha got to fight Vernestra solo. A
Mm.
lot of people wanted to see the breakdown of Vernestra and Chimera, like what their background was, what really
Absolutely.
led them to the point where they're at. More Oceanmere, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but also, what is May's experience going to be like, being around the Jedi? Is there going to be any influence from Rayancourt? Is there any,
Mm.
going to be any training on that side? So it was really great. I'm glad that you know everybody engaged with that topic.
Mm-hmm.
um I think it just shows that we're all really invested and really energized for this.
Like,
And
exactly.
there's so many directions this story could go. Like he really could carry it on 3 seasons,
Mhm.
probably more, and it would be a really robust story. So yeah,
I
like
think so.
we're in this. We're in this, and I just want to see it.
Right. We want to see it on screen. We don't like a comic book. Comic books
I
are
think
fine, but
I
we
think
want to
what's
see
really
it on
exciting is
screen.
that with the show and what we could see with it, yeah, like you just said, it could go in so many different directions.
Mhm.
I am admittedly a little bit in the minority where I am not like, I know that this is a Sith story and I love
Mhm.
that because we've never seen it before. But at the same time, we know that this group that we're with right now, May, Chimere, Plagueis, they don't take the Jedi down, right? On their
Right.
own. So whatever their goals are, I want to know. I want to see how what happens with Oshamir, right? What's the end of their story
Hmm.
look like?
Definitely.
Because it could end up in so many different ways. They could go fully dark and get really bad, and then they get defeated. They could
Mhm.
turn on Plagueis at some point, delay the Sith taking over, because we're still so far away from the Phantom Menace. It's just again so many different directions. I pull for Osha so much and May. I want good things for them, and I feel like
Mhm.
there's a way, even though that Star Wars is tragic. Every like almost every ending in Star Wars is tragic, but I think for those two, I just want something good to happen to them for once in their lives, right?
Right.
Definitely 100%.
And they deserve it. They deserve something good after all they've been through. And I mean, personally, I feel like Leslie would carry them to that path. Like I feel like I don't see her bringing any more like permanent harm to them, so to
Mhm.
speak. Like I really just don't see her doing that. But you never know. I want to see good things. I know, Tara. One of the things you were saying was that you wanted to see more Plagueis and Knights of Ren, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
that I know that that's a thing a couple of people are interested in.
Mhm. Yeah. I want to see the Knights of Ren because I think going back to what First Time is saying too, that that's like that's a way that we could have that ending where they exist. They don't get defeated. The Jedi don't get defeated, but you still have this dark side experience in the galaxy. Would be if there's a separate organization, which we have the Knights of Ren that already exists, and we have the Knights of Ren music that came up in the show.
I was gonna say that was the
Exactly.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'll say one thing too. Part of the quote that Manny was quoted saying, the beginning part in my babe posted this, or yeah, pointed this out. See you
Hmm.
always on the blue app, um, where it was saying Manny was like, he said something like Chimera is not connected to Plagueis. Now, when I saw it in
Right.
the interview article, I thought
Hmm.
he was being sarcastic. I thought he was saying like, "Oh yeah, definitely not. They're not related or something." But
Hmm.
I don't know, like, because we don't have that part on audio. But it's really interesting to think that there is no connection there. Like, what does it mean if Chimere's been off on his own all this time,
Hmm.
and Plagueis has been watching from the shadows, and he's
That
ready
really
to pounce?
upended. Absolutely. That upended my entire understanding of just that ending sequence. It was a little bit contradictory. I'll accept it. I know a lot of fans
Yeah,
were also pretty happy.
yeah. No, I'm just really curious because yeah, I mean, there was we I know right when the show ended, there was a lot of back and forth, like because
Hmm.
Leslie had done an interview that was released
Right.
after where she was saying we wanted to show Plagueis' master, and
Hmm.
some people were like, okay, that means Vernestra, but some people were like that means, excuse me, I said Plagueis. She said that she wanted to show Chimere's master, and some people thought
Hmm.
that was Vernestra, and some people thought that was Plagueis. And so You know,
Right.
we know that Vernestra is Chimaera's master, or was at one point. So this this Plagueis information, that puts us in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much you can do
Definitely.
with that though, because it's like he could be working with Plagueis and don't even know he working with Plagueis. So
Right.
he could be telling the truth, and
Mm.
Leslie could be telling the truth, and it's just the same story. And
Hmm.
Mm.
but they have different perspectives. So, and I mean, not saying I know Leslie, but knowing her writing and what she did with 8 episodes, I wouldn't be shocked if it was something incredible that we can't even.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. That's why they need to hurry up and bring it back. Because
Right. We want to see the official answer. I don't
I
mind the speculation, but I want to see the official answer from Leslie's brain. What are you thinking?
yeah, I need answers. And I don't and I
Mhm.
really truly want her to have the opportunity to go full out. I don't want it to be like, okay, here's your last chance, wrap it up. No.
Right.
Give her
Also, that
space.
yep,
Give her space. Let it simmer. Like I always say, let it simmer. Let her do her season
let
two.
her cook.
Hmm.
Yeah, let us see how that goes. I truly, and I've said this over and over and over, I truly believe that if Star Wars said today,
Hmm.
we've heard you, the Acolyte returns. Because I do think they'll say it. Whenever they
Yes.
say it, I truly feel like people will watch. They'll watch season one and they'll be geared up to watch season two. Off the controversy alone, off
Right.
the discussion alone,
Right.
and the quote unquote viewership will go up. So let it happen. Then we
Right.
got season three in the bag. Then
Right.
we can get the movie. Like it's a
And then
roadmap.
the movie.
It's a
The
roadmap.
movie. Yes.
I think you're spot on, and I think that when the Clone Wars came back, it was the same thing with the Clone Wars. There were so many fans using hashtags, letting their voice be
Mm.
heard, and when it came back, Star Wars tweeted out, and they had the hashtag Clone Wars saved, like right after the
Mm.
panel. So I think I that is exactly how I envision it too. And then the hype around that season when the Clone Wars did come back, I mean, it was crazy, and that season did great. And then that spawned the Bad Batch. I mean, that was specifically
Right.
from the
Right.
first
Yeah.
arc of the Clone Wars, right, where that was the Bad Batch, and then so it just kept moving forward. I think that when that announcement does happen, the hype's going to be crazy. I just there's more people that want more of this story than I think they even know.
Definitely.
And I don't think the haters will have the energy to do all that a second time now. I
Mm.
just feel like
Hopefully not.
there I just feel like even if they throw tantrums about it, it's gonna
Hmm.
look bad. And so people are gonna be like, oh well, it's coming back, so I guess I better see.
Like I might as
Mm.
well watch it,
So
I guess.
yeah, so there you go. I don't know. They need to let it happen. I'm here. I'm waiting. Like you can announce it tomorrow. You can announce it at Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo in
That's
April.
what I feel like
Right.
will happen. I feel
I
like
mean,
Manny's
come
gonna
on.
announce it. I swear I feel
I need it. I need that. I mean, I need them to announce it sooner than Tokyo
yeah,
Celebration.
because
I don't know.
that would be preferable for sure.
Right. But I mean, if they want to do things really big and kind of sweep all of their cowardice from the last few months under the rug and say, oh, that was never an official announcement here, season two coming
That's
out.
why we didn't say
Yeah, I'll take that.
save it for Manny since y'all love him so much. Whatever. I mean, I'll take it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Right.
y'all know well. Not
They
slick.
yeah, they have a lot that they have to make up for, but
Yes.
being bold with an announcement and I always think about Manny saying at D23 when that fan asked him, of course that was before the announcement. The fan was like, "So, season 2?" And he was like, "I don't know, but I'll be the first to let you know." I'm sitting
Mm.
here like, "You better be the first to let us know, Manuel,
Yes.
okay?"
Manuel.
I'm
It's
so
not his
serious.
Right.
birthday.
For
It's
the government.
for
Come on.
government.
Oh Lord. That's can y'all imagine though? everyone listening, can y'all imagine, like, we're fighting for the show every day, we're posting about it, we have the billboards, we have more actions coming out, and then one beautiful morning we wake up, we open up Twitter and Blue app and all the other places, and we see Disney reverses course, Acolyte season 2 coming 2025.
I'm over here grinning
I would
already.
literally cry.
Like,
Like,
Yes.
I'm not even.
Yes.
let me just say, prepare to be sick of me.
Okay.
Okay? Prepare to be sick of me.
That would be like.
Yes, absolutely.
But speaking of, though,
Uh,
I just think it's
yeah,
interesting. Like back to his first comment that we talked about, where we could come back. It's. I think it's even more interesting in the context of the fact that everybody has been so quiet. You know what I mean?
right.
Like for
All
that
the
Yeah.
actors.
specifically, that's such a direct statement.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
And
he's
it's,
really been the main kind of anchor point for this kind of
Hmm.
stuff.
hmm
But then, like, th- on top of that, for me, it was Jodie being asked, "Would you come back?" and her saying yes. Like, of course she'd
right,
say yes. I mean, I think, of course, she'd say yes. But it's like, why did y'all ask her that?
Right.
right,
And
right,
her character's
right.
dead, so it's like,
That part.
why would you ask her
Hmm.
that specifically?
Why is this coming up as a question in Collider? Very interesting. Yeah, I
Why
have
would
that
you?
interview pulled up, and I was going to come down to that, but since it's come up, let's go ahead and segue to that real quick, because she said, of course I'd return. I loved being in that universe. I had an incredible time. There's a lot of other stuff that comes with it that has nothing to do with the work and the colors of the work because it's politics or whatever, but it was a dream project and I would do it again. I don't have any regrets. From Collider. So very interesting that she's being asked this right at this moment. There's a lot of these comments coming out and all of the news coverage from like Entertainment Weekly and Us Weekly. It feels to me, as someone that has a little bit of experience with like the PR world and the media world, that it's a little bit of a media blitz, to be honest. I feel like
Hmm.
I'm hoping that they're preparing us for the announcement.
I hope so.
Same.
Hmm.
Because you can't play with my emotions like that.
It's very playing with our emotions, absolutely. If there's nothing behind this, which I hope that there is, but if there's nothing, we will be very upset. Speaking of also playing with our emotions, Swagman is sending Acolyte merch to people.
Yeah, that part.
Right.
We
So
see you.
a Twitter user on here, I'll share her tweet to our space right now. That's Colby, who has been talking about Skeleton Crew a lot. Colby LaPointe has been talking about Skeleton Crew and wanted some Acolyte swag and was regretful that she never got any Acolyte stuff because she wasn't really in the fandom when we were all geeking out about it all the time. And the Star Wars official account messaged her and said, "Hey, we're going to hook you up," and sent her a poster and a bunch of Swagman stickers. So they're bringing back the Acolytes in the conversation. They've been quiet
Oh,
since
and
the cancellation.
I just want to flag that Kobe uses he him, but
Oh,
also
thank you, thank you.
no problem. But yeah, that really made me look like, okay, like a personal acolyte request, and then a direct response during the promotion for their new show. I found that very interesting.
That is
Yes.
After
it
it's been radio
whiplash.
silence from them since August 19th.
Mm-hmm. So much silence around the Acolyte, just dropped off the face of the earth after so much promotion with influencers And so many influencers were getting care packages. And then the cancellation happened, announcement happened, and suddenly it was just like, oh, nothing else for you guys. We're not even going to acknowledge that this show exists at all. So them sending that to him seems like a pretty big deal. It's a small gesture. It's just a poster or some stickers. So, someone could easily say, well, they're just getting rid of their trash. But it's a marketing account. Their whole point is to drive marketing for their shows and drive viewership for the shows that they want to highlight. If you're airing Skeleton Crew right now, a whole different show, why would you send Acolyte merch to somebody if not for an actual reason? So very, very, very interesting.
And to acknowledge it. Like, I guess really they could have sent it and not said anything.
Mm.
Like, they could have
Mm-hmm.
just said, "Oh, we got you. We'll send you something."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think that's really interesting.
It
Really
is.
interesting.
I'll
Yes,
take it. I mean, I love that the first thing we're hearing is a positive thing. So
Yeah, that's true.
I'll take it.
exactly.
It's been so up and down, I think, from hearing new, like, a lot of like the things we've heard around the Acolyte news and stuff that the cast have said has been positive, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
like little crumbs here and there, little sprinkles, just kind of boosting our morale a little bit. And then sometimes something I feel would come and hit us, and it would be kind of like, okay, well, they're moving weird. Why is Star Wars or whatever doing this? Or why is the streaming industry doing this? There's a pattern. So for all this to come at once,
Mm-hmm.
and it to be like all the way positive as far as the articles, the cast. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's looking up. It's looking up.
Maybe they're
It
reading
is.
and they're just like, okay, this is leaning more positive. Let's kind of shift quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I
Because that
mean
would be
every
smart.
day,
Like, that would be smart.
yeah, every day there's somebody saying, "Oh, I just finished. Oh, I just started watching." I
Exactly.
said this last space, but I kid you not. Every day
Mm-hmm.
there's somebody saying, "Oh, I watched it. It was good. Oh, I watched it. Don't know why it got so much hate." Or even the people
Exactly.
who are like lukewarm on it are still like, "Oh, it was okay. We definitely should still get a season 2." It's like,
Mm-hmm.
do they have to see how like jarring and brash of a decision that was, and the fact that like y'all are still getting attention for it. Like, your new show
Mm-hmm.
is out. It's great. It's cute. And the Acolyte is still trending. So I mean, we're
Right.
here. It's still being talked about. That's a lot more than can be said about a lot of canceled shows. That's a lot more that can be said about a lot of shows 7 months, 6 months after the last episode. The way people's attention span is short, people
Mm-hmm.
move on to the next thing so quickly. So for it
Mm-hmm.
to still be a topic of discussion, for it to still be on people's minds rent free, including my own,
Right.
No, for
Yeah.
it to
I
still be
mean,
trending while it's getting active hate too. Like,
still
Mm-hmm.
trending. And
Yes.
Renew the Acolyte and the Acolyte were both trending on two separate occasions this week. So, or more than two, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That speak for itself.
Absolutely. I am gonna post those right now. I forgot to post them earlier, so I'm posting them now. But yeah, I see Alicia also came on. Hey Alicia, if you have anything to say, go ahead and jump on in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, we've all observed the way that Star Wars, Lucasfilms, Disney, the Star Wars account on Twitter has been moving. It's been really weird. So I think that, like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems that even with the Star Wars account, even acknowledging, because the Star Wars account does not interact with anyone who talks about the Acolyte at all.
Right.
So I think that it is definitely, I mean, it's still weird to me, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, I don't know. I feel like I'm still very skeptical of everything that they do, but I think that it's
Understandably.
right. Like I think it's a positive change, because they could have
Mhm.
very well just DM'd this person if they wanted, unless their DMs are like not enabled. But I think the
Mhm.
fact of the matter is they still decided to interact with this person who's talking about the acolyte, which is not something that we can say happens. Has happened since maybe like August, like early August or something. So
Right.
it's all very it's strange, but I'm also like I guess I'm like skeptically I don't know, hopeful. I don't know. So I guess we'll see, but
Mhm.
it is interesting just the amount of there's just so much conversation going on right now about the acolyte. And I also think that people are feeling more emboldened to talk about their love for the acolyte.
Mm.
Even on Twitter, I
Yes.
think that people are less afraid to, maybe more so than before, they're less
Mhm.
afraid to be like, you know what, I actually love the acolyte, or the acolyte was really not that bad at all as people have tried to put it out to be. So
Mhm.
and I think that's just going to keep happening. And I think people are going to continue to be emboldened. And I think it's helpful that we keep talking about it and that we have
Mhm.
spaces like this in the first place to even, I don't know, help people feel more emboldened to talk about their love for the show.
So let
Uh,
me ask you, Alicia, especially since you create so many of the beautiful graphics that we get to share in the Save the Acolyte community. Thank you so much for that. So awesome. They're so beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, let's say that you wake up tomorrow morning or Monday morning. Okay, tomorrow's a weekend. You wake up Monday morning and you see the news. The Acolyte is coming back. Disney reversed course is coming back. What are you thinking? What are you doing? What's the reaction?
um, I don't even know how I would react to that, honestly. I would be so, I mean, obviously, I would be so happy. And I would go immediately to like the Discord or like the Twitter chat to see like how
Right.
everyone else is reacting.
Mm-hmm.
But like, oh my gosh, like I totally want that to happen. And like, if that happens
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, like, cool. Like, let's manifest that. Like, I really want that to be a thing. So
Yes.
I don't know. That's just, I feel like there's a shift happening. I don't know.
There is a shift happening. I agree with you. And I agree, like the people have been less afraid. The haters have moved on to fairer pastures, or their ringleaders haven't been directing them to be as hateful because they're not really hating the skeleton crew right now, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So they've kind of fallen apart. And Blue Sky is so much easier, Blue app is so much easier for talking about things and not being harassed by terrible people if you don't want to be. I did get into it with a guy yesterday a little bit who was on Darth, I forget his name, but
Thunder.
one of, yeah, a big fan account who's always promoting the Acolyte and promoted the Acolyte and had some people come in like, oh, the budget was too high and no one watched. And, you know, I always like to come with the facts, like actually people did watch, actually Andor cost more, actually this, actually that. And this guy was very, very angry. So he was, you know, he was not, he was upset with me for even argue like discussing it with him. Like, no one's gonna watch this $1 billion show. Like, dude,
A billion
where is all this
dollars.
emotion coming from?
Well, it's
I
also
don't. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say I'm really tired of hearing about the budget argument. I know we've talked about this before, but I cannot
It's the
anymore.
worst.
Yeah, I do not have the patience. Whenever I see people talk about it and they're like, "Oh, it's just astronomical," it's like, but also it's like, why do you care so much? Like, it just,
Right.
I don't know. And I've been
No,
seeing a
it's the
lot of
worst.
like, I feel like I've also been seeing some like bad takes on the other app too, like start to
Mm-hmm.
like kind of go on like the on Blue Sky, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been blocking. I've been blocking. I've been muting.
Exactly. It's so much easier and better for that because when you block, if you're the original poster and someone replies to you and you block it, the comment disappears for everybody. So there are no pile-on parties. There are no, hey, this person got hate. Let's all go over and hate them. It's like the comment's gone. No
Hmm.
one can see it. So
Exactly.
so it just nips it in the bud.
Yep.
It's really amazing.
It's great over there because you realize how many. there already aren't a lot, and I think a lot of them have just come from over here. But you
Mm-hmm.
realize how many of them are literally just talking to themselves. Because
Right.
I saw someone
Facts.
under a comment, I blocked. I went to their page first because I like to see, okay, what's going on here. But there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing. It was like there were no really any other comments, um, and just a bunch of replies to stuff. And they
Mm.
weren't getting any likes for it. They weren't getting attention. And I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
see, that's blocked, and now nobody will ever see you again.
Right.
Goodbye.
Exactly. It's so good. It's so good. So we just have to remember, if you're the original poster and someone replies to you, you can go ahead and block them. I can appreciate, people that want to encourage healthy debate or discussion or whatever. But I think it's good to just cut it off. And if you're the original poster, someone replies to you, they're a troll, just block them. Erase them from existence. We will never know. It will
Like
all be for the better.
you can't debate me on my page. This is my world.
Right.
I say
Exactly.
I know that block button. Hate to see me coming. Block.
Right.
Snap them
Block.
like Thanos. Get them out. And I will say,
Oh,
it's a great observation too that Alicia
mhm,
made, because I feel like over there, yeah, more people are able to talk freely about it, and I also think
mhm,
the culture over there makes it easier for me to like block people over. I think it makes
mhm,
it, we're seeing that shift that she's talking about coming back a lot faster and more,
mhm,
it's steady right now. Like when you see something come out and it, people were hating on it or lukewarm on it, and it's like something else, it goes, and then a couple months later or even a year later, people are like, oh, hot take, this was good. And then there's a
right,
bunch of people who are like, yeah, it was good. It's like,
right,
I feel like we're seeing that coming up now, and granted, it has been 6 months. It feels like it's only been yesterday,
mhm,
but we're seeing it steady, steady, steady. And the more we see it, the more we're gonna see people say, "Oh, people are talking about this. Let me go watch it."
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I didn't
mhm,
know. I didn't know about this. Let me go watch it." And
mhm,
I specifically, this is just going back real quick. Like I remember, um, the day that the announcement came through, and like
mhm,
we were all in denial, of course. Yes.
mhm.
Um,
Terrible day. That
it
was
was
awful.
it was bad. I woke
Yeah.
up from a nap and somebody had DM'd me. That was the worst way to find
Oh
out. But
Oh
anyway,
God.
um, I remember people saying like, "Okay, well, what's the official page saying?" And the official page hadn't posted, and then it ended up being like 2 or 3 days and nothing, just like radio silence, nothing,
Mhm,
no
mhm,
no interactions, no even like promotional posts. And then after
mhm,
that, it was like nothing. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Alicia, being skeptical. I think that's warranted because they move weird. Um, but yeah, I think there is. I agree that there's a shift, and I agree that more people are coming around to it, and
mhm,
it helps that we're making it a welcoming and kind environment for that, so that people can
mhm.
feel like there are people they can talk about this with, and people who are sharing in their enjoyment of the show.
I am also keeping an eye on the YouTube chat while because this is being live streamed to YouTube, and Sith Babe, who is part of our Save the Acolyte community, has been blowing up the chat a little bit. I love to see you there, Sith Babe, and she said, "Thank you, Alicia. There is a shift. That block button does get blasted." So yeah, definitely. Oh, we see JCW Dad just came on as a speaker too. Hey, good to see you.
Everybody, I made it.
Yeah, awesome.
I wasn't gonna jump in, but I did. I wanted to jump in and say just real quick that Star Wars fans never learn. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what we're seeing with the Acolyte is really annoying as somebody who lived through the prequel era because
Mm-hmm.
I kind of mentioned this last week. You know, I don't have any direct proof of this. It's purely speculative, so let me just throw that out there. But
Yeah.
the response to the prequels is 100% why we got the Disney sale.
Mm.
George got a lot of flack, particularly for the Phantom Menace. People hated that movie. And that's when he started kind of ceding more control of what was happening in Star Wars,
Right.
and ultimately led to the Disney sale. And then, when we had the sequel trilogy, uh, a lot of people loved episode 7. And I know there was some backlash to episode 8, but a lot of people still loved episode 8. And then, behind the scenes, they course corrected because of the negative backlash to 8, and we got 9, which is pretty,
Right.
pretty, pretty consistently. I would say that's the consensus worst movie.
So now
Right,
the entire sequel trilogy is just a mess.
right, and now people, right, exactly, and now people hate the entire sequel trilogy.
Mhm.
Um, and so it just bothers me that Star Wars fans never learn just to shut up. And
Right.
like if something comes out and you don't agree with it and you don't like it, like it's the galaxy far, far away. Just like wait, just like take a breath and wait for the next thing to come out, and you'll probably enjoy that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah. Like, great comment. Absolutely love that. And yeah, like, take a breath. In 2 years, you will probably love it. Like, relax.
And like, even if you don't, it's okay. People are so
Hmm.
possessive over Star Wars, and it's like it
Hmm.
never gave that. Like, please relax.
Right.
Even if the creator of Star Wars wasn't possessive over it, that he sold it, you really need to calm down. But at the same
Right.
time, like, this is not me dismissing the connection and the love people have for Star Wars. I get it. Like, I've loved Star
Hmm.
Wars since I was a kid.
Yes.
And again, the Acolyte has been a time where I felt like I connected to it more than I ever had. That I felt like
Hmm.
this was for me. Like, wow,
Right.
I'm in Star Wars. That's what it felt like. Everybody else has had that feeling. Great, good for y'all. But you don't
Hmm.
have to get upset because other people are having that feeling. You don't have to get upset because people who never cared about Star Wars are starting to have that feeling. That's a good thing.
Hmm.
You should want
Exactly.
that because
Hmm.
your that is how Star Wars continues on and lives on for a long time. And
Hmm.
to the point that uh JC made, somebody on the Blue app shared a YouTube video from the user Hello Greedo,
Hmm.
where he talked about how he's been on YouTube for 14 years and he
Hmm.
kind of posts sporadically. He doesn't have a daily schedule or anything. He's got life and a job and a family. But
Hmm.
he said, like, you really can just enjoy Star Wars as it comes and goes and just, move on. And if you don't like
Hmm.
something, maybe you'll like the next thing. There, at this
Hmm.
rate, we're getting a lot more than we ever had. So it's not like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's not like, oh, this is the only thing I'll get for another 15 years. Like,
Right.
I don't know what direction we're going now, but
Hmm.
right now, that's not the situation we're in. So you can just take a breather and relax.
Right.
Well, and as
Yeah.
somebody who grew up in that era in the 90s when all we had was the EU, like, I mean,
Exactly.
be
Just
great,
books,
be
some
grateful, dude.
games. Hmm.
And not even canon. Like, I know everybody, there's the argument, was the EU canon or not, but they were never truly canon. Like, it was like
Hmm.
one of those things, like it was like they were canon until they weren't.
Hmm.
So, like, it's not like we had like we didn't have anything on screen, and we didn't have anything like officially official. So,
Right.
like, be grateful even if you're not enjoying all the content that's coming out. Just be grateful it's coming out.
Hmm.
And they haven't gone anywhere. I will never understand that. That's just me personally. They haven't gone anywhere. It wasn't like Star Wars did a big old book burning and was like, your EU
Oh,
is
right.
dead. Like,
Yeah.
you can buy the book. So what's the
Right.
big
Yeah,
deal?
Disney didn't Fahrenheit 451 the EU. They just
Okay,
So
like,
insane.
go pick up the book and read it.
well,
Transport
and
yourself
Hmm.
to the time.
like
You'll be okay.
I still have a bunch
Hmm.
of my EU books, and like And that's the thing too that bothers me, like about people complaining now. Like I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
everything that was in the EU. Like
Mm-hmm.
there were stories that I didn't connect with for sure. Like there was one, the whole, the whole storyline with Luke's hand. That shit was stupid, dude. Like
Wait,
that.
was that like he gets cloned or something, right? From his
Yeah,
hand?
man. It was
That
because
sounded terrible.
like, and originally the Clone Wars were supposed to be that. So like that's how they kind of like backdoored that in, like
Oh,
to the
wow.
EU, like because that's the George's original idea of the Clone Wars was clones of the Jedi fighting each other, and so like
Oh.
that's kind of what we end up getting in like the
Mhm.
EU post Return of the Jedi era. But like that storyline was terrible, and like
Sounds awful.
it was just awful. It was terrible, and
Mhm.
like that's like, and even like
And
the
his
can't.
name had like two U's, right? Like Luke.
Right, yeah, yeah.
That is
That's
that
so
is goofy.
And like
that's so funny.
I liked Joris C. Balth as a character. That's the character who clones Luke. I liked him as a character, but like the story's bad. The story's just it's just bad.
Not
Mm-hmm.
too much on Luke W because he about to show up.
Not Luke.
Yeah, I know, for real. I keep thinking that. I
He
really
gonna
hope
show
not.
up and we gonna be sitting here.
I really hope not.
Like, well,
But yeah, like even the canon stuff, like I'm not, hot take. I'm not a fan of the way they did Revenge of the Sith.
Mm.
Like I'm not a fan of Episode 3. So like and like I didn't get on. You know, it was different back then. But like
Wait,
I didn't.
what did you not like? You like the first two, but you don't like Revenge of the Sith?
I just I'm really glad they did Clone Wars because I felt like and I get it. I get why he did it. It was a smart
Okay, you
decision.
gotta tell us what you don't like though, so we
I
can
okay.
decide whether or not to judge you.
I didn't like I didn't like that he focused on the romance between Padme and Anakin so
And
much,
Anakin
which I
instead
get.
of
It was a really smart decision in hindsight because that's what
sure. But what
a
would you have
lot of
preferred?
people attached to that part of it. So it was a really smart decision in hindsight. But for me personally, I wanted to see more of Anakin being driven away politically from the Jedi, which I get,
Oh,
and
okay.
I get that Padme was a huge part of it, but and I also I really I hate the choreo. I really do. Like I think they were trying to go on the lightsaber fights. They were like, we have to go like huge, like and I think it didn't come out. Like there's a whole that whole
You
the,
didn't like the Yoda Palpatine
no,
fight?
bro, definitely
Oh
not.
my
And
gosh.
Obi-Wan
Oh,
and Anakin doing the dick swinging. Like literally, I laughed in the theater when they did the whole
oh
dick swing.
no.
When they did the whole swinging thing, I was like, oh my god, bro, this is
Obi-Wan and Anakin in the final
terrible,
battle.
terrible. But that's but all that to say, like that's I didn't stop liking
Slightly
Star Wars.
judging,
Yeah,
slightly judging.
but like I didn't stop liking Star Wars because I wasn't like, oh,
Sure,
this ruins Star. They broke Star Wars. Like
sure.
I just watched it, and then the next thing that came out, like I watched or read that too. Like
Mhm.
I just moved on, and I don't understand why Star Wars fans can't do that, because exactly like
Right.
Zay was saying, they get really possessive about stuff, and like when stuff doesn't go the way that they want it to go, they like break it, like breaks their brains, and they have to like
Mhm.
crap all over Star Wars and everybody involved in anything they didn't like, and anybody who likes what they didn't like, they have to crap all over them too. And I have never understood that. It's why I have not been a part of the fandom most of my life, and I really appreciate this group, the Save the Acolyte crew, because it's been really nice, getting to talk to people who aren't fucking haters, just
Yes.
The same
Yes.
could be said for like Star Wars themselves too, is that when they put stuff out, they're so quick to bow the knee and bend the knee and whatever and switch their path, and it ends up jumbling things up just because they said, oh no, these fans
Mhm.
didn't like this, or they're being really loud. Maybe we should just do something different. No,
So
stick
quick.
to your
Stick to
plan.
your
So
story. It
quick.
makes your storytelling so inconsistent, and it's like nobody's happy
No
because
bun.
people who like the original story are disappointed, and the people who hated it, well, now you just have a bad product that's inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's like everybody loses.
exactly.
Everybody loses.
We were talking about this in Discord the other day. Like, you've shot yourself in the foot both ways, because like now the people who
Mhm.
liked the show are pissed at how you handled it, and then on the flip side, you had the people who didn't like the show. Well, those people are openly anti, never going to please them already.
Right.
So, like, you've shot yourself in the foot both ways. You already have people who are like celebrating your demise on the one hand, and then you have people who like were excited and now are kind of celebrating your demise too on the other side. On the other side, really, because it's like like if this is how you're going to treat this show and this cast and this crew,
Mhm.
like, why would we?
Going back to the YouTube chat. Okay, first of all, Sith Babe also disapproves JCW. she said to jail. But we get it. We get it. You're entitled. You're entitled to your opinion. And genuinely, we're not gonna rib you too bad for that. Um, but she also said someone reminded her that we were supposed to get a new Star Wars movie after Thanksgiving, after The Force Awakens. And I asked her for more clarification, and she said The Force Awakens, we were told that Star Wars was going to have a new movie every year. And I remember hearing about that. I do not remember hearing about that, but I believe you, Sith Babe. Um, and yeah, it kind of goes the same thing of like constantly changing up their plans and not having that consistency. Um, because if they announced that they were supposed to have new movies every year and then like backed out of it, because we clearly haven't had that. Maybe because Solo flopped. I think, okay, now I'm talking about it, I do kind of remember a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we almost had that between Rogue One and Solo, and then
Right,
after Solo,
right.
it fizzled out because they still had that slate where they were gonna do more recently they were gonna do that Rogue Squadron movie
Mm-hmm.
and something else, Pilots of the New Republic or whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we covered Manny's comments. We can always come back to them. We covered Jodie's comments. We have to also cover JJ's comments, Lee Jung Jae. Did I say that in the right order? Probably not.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So he did an interview with Vanity Fair because season 2 of Squid Game is coming out. And they asked him about the Acolyte, more of this media blitzing that I'm convinced means something real. And he said, which just made me so sad, and I'm sure it like made a lot of people really sad. They asked about all of the racist and hateful online harassment from toxic Star Wars fans outraged over the show's inclusion of diverse characters. And he says, my feelings were hurt, especially for Leslie Hetland. Her feelings must have hurt a lot. He said he was shocked by the racist backlash, and he can only have faith that racism will end someday, even though it's going to be hard. I appreciate that, JJ. I don't have that faith, but I appreciate his faith in us in this country that we can overcome this somehow.
Yeah,
I don't see it happening.
that was sweet, and I was like, "Oh, you sweet summer child." No.
Right, exactly.
I don't think we ever. I don't know. I want to be optimistic. I don't know that we ever overcome racism, but I do hope that we overcome its dominance on the media and
Mhm,
the course of storytelling, because that's what we're seeing here
mhm,
for sure. And people can
mhm,
argue that like you can make the individual argument that it's not about bigotry. That's fine. But like
mhm,
in terms of public perception, like when the negative reviews start just based on who's show running the show and who's cast in the show, Like, you can't argue that it's not hate and that it didn't have an effect ultimately on viewership. Like,
Right.
you can't make that
That's what
argument.
I keep saying. It's like we have the troll I was engaging with yesterday just because he didn't get blocked. So I was like, I need to talk to you because I don't want your comments just float out here as if they're true because they're not. Um, I couldn't understand exactly what you were saying. That okay, I was talking, I just forgot what you just said. Oh my god, total Aquarius moment. Remind me what you just said, JCW.
No, it happens, but like the you can't make the argument that it's not
Mhm.
that the hate didn't have some effect on viewership,
Yes,
and it
thank
started
you.
it started prior to us seeing a single frame. You know, it
Exactly.
was just based on who was in it and who was running the show.
Exactly. Totally agree. Totally agree. You can't argue that the show was just uniquely bad, which is what all these trolls keep saying, or that, you know, people just didn't like it. We had this whole atmosphere on Twitter where fans still have to like close their comments so they don't get harassed. We have people who have said that they don't want to talk about it so they don't get harassed. And it's like, how are we supposed to grow attention for the show when we have all these people coming and yelling at us every day? Which, by the way, I will post this after this space, but I do have a collection of memes that have been pretty handy in warding off trolls. And so if you're on Twitter still and you want the meme collection, then click into that after this space for my meme collection for the anti-trolls. But it absolutely had an effect, no doubt.
And my thing is, if I'm Disney and Lucasfilm, even if
Mm-hmm.
like, if I'm in leadership and I personally don't care, I still don't want my company
Mm-hmm.
affiliated with that. So I would
Mm-hmm.
like defend them, like protect
Right.
and say, hey, regardless of what the trolls are saying, this has nothing to do with our decision. Like blah blah blah. Like I would say something.
Yes.
That's what bothers me about
Please.
this. There's still no official statement. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nothing about like, hey, you know, here's what's actually happening. Nothing about like, hey, we haven't officially canceled it or we have officially canceled it. Nothing about like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, fuck off. You know, leave the actors
Right.
alone. You know, don't be racist. Even, you know, like nothing. Like zero, zero from Star Wars, zero from Lucasfilm. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what bothers me the most about this.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's even more frustrating because they've done it before. That's the thing that keeps getting me. Well, I won't even say them because it wasn't really them, but their little comment about don't be a racist, you know, that was fine.
Sure.
They didn't lose any followers or lose any fans because of that. And so given that, they should do that more to weed out the negative attitudes, cuz I remember when they tweeted that, there were a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who were upset that they tweeted that.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the follow up was, of course, Ewan McGregor's video, which I think we
Mm-hmm.
have all come to the consensus that that was his idea, and he said, "Post this
Mm-hmm.
on your account." But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, that said, y'all have done it before, whether it was through
Mm-hmm.
him or a cute little tweet. Y'all have done it before. So why are you quiet now?
Right.
If there's some kind of, I don't know, like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Like you said, if you really shouldn't want your company to look like you're siding with negativity or that you're encouraging it, but that's what it looks like.
Like, you don't
And
Mm-hmm.
it's
protect your
like,
employees.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, why do you want to look like that? I don't see the benefit of that any kind of way. Even if you think politics are changing, it's there's no benefit to that.
Mm-hmm. I would love if you know, John Favreau or Filoni, Mr. Cowboy Hat, or even Kathleen Kennedy herself, you know, came forward and just outside of the Star Wars official account said, hey, by the way, we are trying to build an inclusive brand and we're not trying to exclude anyone. We're not trying to force out white people. We're not trying to force out men. You know, white folks and men will always be included. in these stories, but it is an inclusive environment, and we do want to have more diverse stories. Like just just a statement that's more consistent, like you said. Um, Not just like once in a blue moon, like the one and done.
Well, and this is purely speculative again, but I do think that there's something coming down from Disney about it because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, there hasn't been a lot of people speaking out about it, not from the cast or from the crew or from Lucasfilm. And, like Kathleen Kennedy is, you know, relatively outspoken about social issues and supportive of
Yes.
things like that. So, the
Right.
fact that she hasn't said anything at all, put out any sort of
Mm-hmm.
statement, Lucasfilm hasn't put out any sort of statement, like I do feel like that has to be coming down from above.
Mm,
It still bothers me, but I do feel like that.
absolutely.
And that's what makes me wonder if there's pushback at all from Lucasfilm, because it's like, again, I feel like if it was a done deal, a one and
Mm-hmm.
done, we're not budging,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we probably would have heard something by now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I feel like it would have just been like, okay, it's done. Stop talking about it. But
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Which
I,
also reminds me that I was thinking the other day, because of all of these events this week, all the coverage and everything, I feel like the way that the cancellation got announced, August 19th, I think it was just to like give some sort of olive branch to the haters. Was to say like, hey, don't abandon Star Wars, we still care about you. Look, here's a rumor that's going to be verified that this show is not moving forward, so we want you guys to stop being upset at us.
yeah. Because I would say they descended on us 2 days before the announcement. And I remember because
Really?
we were all posting regularly, talking about our
Mm-hmm.
theories,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sharing art and whatnot in the
Mm-hmm.
renewal hashtag. And it was the Friday before people started saying, well, it's not coming back, so just let it go. And it was
Mm.
like all of a sudden, because before that, we were kind of in our own bubble. And
Really?
it was just like, where are all these people coming from today of all days? And then sure enough, 2 days later,
Huh.
that's when the article came out. And then some people had said that they had already heard that it was coming. Like they had heard the
Interesting.
previous week that it was coming. And yeah. So yeah, I mean,
So like the
that's
olive branch to the haters.
yeah, that's what I felt like, because they got really bold and
Mm-hmm.
then they never let it go. They're
Mm-hmm.
still, it's been 6 months. Like, yeah,
Right.
you're still in our mentions.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely think it was strategic. Whatever the reason, I definitely think it was strategically put out there. Uh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to maybe test the waters, or like you said, maybe to shut down the haters. Whatever the
Mm-hmm.
reason, I definitely think it was strategically leaked, though.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it came out of nowhere, but it was definitely like, it, like, what was like several articles, one after another, starting with
Mm.
that deadline article.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was strategic. I don't know if we'll
Mm.
ever know why
Mm-hmm.
until they renew. Then we'll know.
Yes, exactly.
I also feel like
Maybe
people
even.
leak stuff to see what the reception will be and then see how they should move
Mm-hmm.
before they officially do something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought it was going to be too, like test the waters. But then
Which,
they never did like a super official announcement. It's just everyone has confirmed it, like Forbes and all these people. They're like, okay, this is what's actually happening, but there is no official announcement from Star Wars itself.
yeah, and it's just dragged on, like dragged on and on
Mm-hmm.
and on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only person to say anything in reference to it was Amandla. And the other odd thing about it is like Book of Boba Fett has been
Mm-hmm.
in limbo for 5 years.
Yes,
Less than
exactly.
five, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hmm. That was a
and
choice. That was a very intentional
and
choice.
people did not like
Mhm.
that show. Like what? Like
They didn't.
No, I
like
didn't like it.
there's very few fans of that show. Like the Acolyte has a
Mhm.
following. It has people who watched it in real time and enjoyed it. And like
Right.
I don't think Book of Boba Fett. And that makes me feel real sad because like I know Tim was like super, into the project and everything. But I
He
just
deserves the
he
best.
does.
Yeah, I love him.
But they did not give him the best, in my opinion. But
No, they did not.
And that's my thing. Like, I liked it when it was out and watching it with my
Mhm.
dad. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I really
Mhm.
think that Boba Fett needed his story told in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think people were quick, like, oh, we have to give them a book. We have to give them a Boba Fett show because we made him show up and everybody loves Boba Fett. We have to give him a show.
Mm.
And it didn't, like, they pigeonholed him into Mando's story, which is fine. He was the original Mandalorian. So, like, okay.
Exactly.
But it just, his story needed a lot more care than I personally feel like it was given.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a Boba Fett space. Anyways, but
I
that
don't.
said, that said, it's been in limbo all this time and
Mhm.
nobody has said anything about it. People keep
Mhm.
saying, people have said bring it back, do better the next time, but nobody has
Mhm.
said anything. So they keep bringing Tim Weta and Daniel Logan to these cons and they keep
Mhm.
having them show up and nothing.
Mm.
And
Mm.
even Tim Weta's like, I'm waiting on my phone to ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Poor
he
guy.
deserves better than that.
he's always like,
Right.
"What the hell, man? I don't know what's up."
But
I
that
don't know.
said,
I feel like Star Wars also kind of backs itself into these corners. Like if they had told the story with more care, like he said, then they would have more leeway to do a whole bunch of other exciting stories. I don't think anyone really wanted to see a Boba Fett is some like peacemaker who's like a diplomatic democratic guy who accepts everyone's opinions. Like that's not
Yeah.
our Boba Fett,
I
really.
wanted a dark crime story in Star Wars.
Definitely,
Like I wanted it to get mature and dark and nasty.
definitely.
Uh,
and we could have had that. We could have had that.
yeah, we could have
Right.
definitely had that. And like not, I don't think it's ever gonna be that mature, but like you're seeing like the Penguin get all these excellent reviews, and I know we're getting off topic here, but like the
Hmm.
Penguin is dark, and the Batman storyline is mature. It's curse words and sex and murder, and so I mean like
Hmm.
there's you can go that direction in a nerd space still, I think. Um, and then
Yeah.
I wanted to point out too, like Kenobi. Kenobi
Mm.
is, there's always rumors that they're possibly developing a season two. Like that, nothing official,
Yeah.
but there's always these rumors that they might. And like that show got at least as bad a reception as the Acolyte. So like,
Absolutely. I would watch a Kenobi season 2 though.
I would too. The thing that
Hmm.
those two things have in common is that people love Obi-Wan. People love Boba Fett. So
Hmm.
even though they didn't care for the shows, they have so much grace that they're willing to give. And
Mm.
the Acolyte was all new people. I think a lot of people were threatened by a lot of the cool stuff that the Acolyte dared to do. And so,
Hmm.
because they were preemptively told it was going to be bad and they shouldn't like it, once the cool stuff started coming out, they were looking for anything they could tag on to say, no, this is bad. Because guess what? What I
Mm.
said
Mm.
watching Skeleton Crew episode 1, fire in space? Oh my gosh. So, I mean,
There we go.
it was there. So it's like people were saying literally anything, and they were waiting for a reason to attack Amandla. And
Mm.
I just think that, yeah, canceling it the way they did, to not even say from the official Star Wars page, like, oh, we enjoyed uh making the Acolyte. Thanks for watching, and shout out to our cast. To do it the way they did,
Hmm.
knowing how that would look,
Hmm.
I just think, yeah, I don't know what the reason, but it was intentional. Because why would you do that? Otherwise, y'all would have to backpedal and say, "Oh no, we didn't mean for it to look like we canceled the only Star Wars show that has black people in it and Asian people in it and queer people in it. Sorry." Like they knew how that looked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad situation all around. Um, I just I wish that there was more courage in Star Wars. If it's a matter of courage, we don't know if it's actually a matter of courage or not. Um, you know, maybe they are just like super hateful and just don't want to. They want to change course. They don't like all these black people. But I do kind of see I see financially where they would be in a bind because I think someone said to me that Acolyte fans are not a big part of the overall fandom, and I don't think that's true at all. I think the average person is someone that does really like this show, but they don't only make their money off of views; they make their money off of merch and and people buying like Lego sets and toys. And a lot of that is these guys that have been speaking out against the show.
I mean, I would argue that they don't make most of their money off of views. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
rely on the return from merch and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But here's my argument against
Yeah.
that, though, is that this is the first show in a very long time, our first piece of media that's actually bringing new people to Star Wars. So if you're looking at making money, especially in a long-term sense, like you want new people to come. You want to turn new people into the type of fans that are going to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think that would be a better long-term business strategy would be to make sure that that it's not going to be a dying brand. That's just these 30 and 40-year-old nerds like, okay, I'm in my 40s now, but so no ageism there, but it's not a younger crowd, right? It's going to be older people that have been carried over from the original trilogy, and that's not a good long-term strategy. Absolutely.
And on top of that, like you don't have to choose. You can cater to nostalgia and do something to pull in new fans. Like it's not like Disney can only produce one show at a time. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
a company. So you can have
Mm-hmm.
your experimental projects that bring in new people and you can have your cash cows that you know are going to maintain your base. They can both exist.
Right. That would be smart. I
That
agree
that
with that.
that's the frustrating thing about watching this is it's like you're a multi-billion dollar company, like, and it would be so easy just to to have multiple projects in process at the same time and be
Mm-hmm.
doing exactly what you were saying, Freckles, like coming out with something that draws in new people and something that pleases the old, at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, and there's no reason that you couldn't, especially now that you're diving into shows, there's no reason you couldn't put out two projects a year
Mm-hmm.
easily.
Hmm. Especially if they're considering continuing with shows. I know there were like mixed rumors about whether they were going to stop doing shows altogether, or whether they were going to keep doing them or do movies. Whatever the case may be, I mean, I think that's a great strategy is to just say like, yeah, we can have a multi-tiered approach here and start to build our new audience. Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
don't see what's wrong with that. They are not on a shortage of money.
Well, and
No, they
again,
really aren't.
the people who don't like for example the Acolyte, like those are anti-Disney people. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not, I don't know, understand why we're catering to that, because they openly are against you on principle. So like, forget all that. And like, not just in Star Wars, I've been really impressed, like what you were saying, Tara, about, courage. Like I've been really impressed over the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years with the
Mm.
content that Disney has put out, because I feel like they have been allowing different creators, diverse creators, different kind of storylines and stuff.
Like what sorts of things are you thinking about? Like Tales of the Jedi and that kind of stuff?
In Star Wars, yeah, Tales is cool. Like we're getting, Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, I think, are both, really cool. New, different approaches. High Republic, the novels are really cool, but also like breaking away from Star Wars, like MCU Phase 4 has been my favorite of any of the MCU phases, and it's been like because they've opened it up, they've had different kinds of and I haven't liked it all. Like I I was really excited about the Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie. I ended up hating it.
Oh.
But like Shang-Chi is beautiful. Echo was beautiful. Loki was incredible. And
Well,
Eternals
you're
is
kind of mixing like Marvel and Star Wars right now.
no, yeah, I know. I'm saying like I've been really impressed with Disney as a company
Oh yeah.
in general. Like having the courage to open up to different, diverse creation.
And it is interesting. Their Marvel sector is super brave and goes out on all these sorts of limbs like you're talking about.
Yeah. And it has drawn in a lot of new people, and so for me, like because there's a whole contingent of people who are just against that, just on principle, and that's what we saw with the Acolyte from the moment that they saw that it was Leslie Headland, it was a queer woman running the show, Amanda Stenberg was going to be the lead, they jumped all over that, you know, and that's what we saw from the very beginning. And these people are against it on principle. You're never gonna please them. I
Is
guess.
there some like big difference between the Star Wars and Marvel fan base? Because I love that point. It's like we're all geeks, but
No,
Marvel
they're
goes out there.
to be honest. They
Say it
can.
again.
I said they can be just as awful. They were for a while. They've quieted down, but
Mm.
it was bad in the MCU for a while because that's where I was
Mm.
most recently, and I was just like, y'all are terrible.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mm.
It can
Same
it,
for
it
me.
can it can be bad everywhere. I think Star Wars is probably the most toxic because of what we were talking about earlier, like with the possessiveness of the fandom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Gonna be winding down. It's like almost 7:30 here, so gonna be winding down here in a bit. Great space today. I love talking about all these awesome, excuse me, all these awesome articles that have come out and speculating about what it'll be like. Oh, that reminds me, since you're on JCW, we were talking earlier about what it's going to be like when we get that announcement that season 2 is renewed. So imagine Monday morning, we open up the news and you see season 2, The Acolyte, is coming back. What's your reaction?
I'm going to be insufferable. I mean, I'm going to get online and just be as annoying as I possibly can. I might go running up and down the street, honestly.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
like
Seriously.
I might get my saber and just be out there, just running up and down the street, switching
With
it
the
from blue to
saber and
red.
everything.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah,
whole
I'm all
nine
about
yards.
that.
I'm gonna freak out. Yeah, and I mean, I'll be super excited. I'll be hyped. Uh,
Hmm.
I'll watch the crap out of it. uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll be super annoying because right now, the trolls love to come and dunk on us and be like, well, it's canceled, it's not coming back. And like, so
Terrible.
if it ever did get renewed officially, like, oh my god, I'm gonna be annoying. So annoying.
Yeah, me and JC gonna be petty because I got the block list and I will go. I feel
With
like
the
I
block
really want to
list.
go through and every
You're
single person that I blocked be like, "What you said?" What was that you said?
Yeah, what
Oh
was that?
no!
Who was that? I can't remember. I can't. What was that about? It's canceled.
What was that? I got your screenshot. What did you say? Oh,
Oh no! Say
that's what
that's
I
so
thought.
funny.
Like, I'm gonna block you for 24 hours because you
Let's
tried to
run
watch
that back. Yeah.
something, and then you gonna
Just
right back and
let
block
me
me.
hear you say that one more time.
So that's amazing. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna be petty. We're gonna be insufferable. We're gonna be real celebrating in the streets with the sabers. Sith Babe said on YouTube, I'm gonna cry and be insufferable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When they go low, we go to hell. That's where
yeah,
I'm at.
right.
And we have to have our group watch party. Like I said to you
Right.
before, we might have to process the premiere on our own, but we
Right.
have to get together and do like a legit watch party and just be like, y'all, we did it. We got here.
Yes. Yes. Like in
No,
person
that.
watch party.
Yeah, no, that's.
Either
I
way,
can't wait for that too.
Definitely.
That
With the
that will that
popcorn.
that will be the triumph. Watching with y'all.
When we pull this
yeah,
Yes.
off, I
that'll
might
be.
run for office or something because I'm gonna just feel too powerful.
You say
You said
what?
you're gonna
You gonna what?
I said when we pull this off, like I might have to run for office for something because I'm gonna just feel too powerful.
Oh,
office.
period. We will vote for you.
Like what else can we
Okay, Freckles.
what else can we do around the world? Let's say
Yeah,
That's true.
yes. Take that energy and push it forward into something even more productive.
That's true. I'm gonna
Yeah,
feel pretty unstoppable after that.
it's
You won't be
crazy.
able
I
to
love
tell
it.
me nothing.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be doing all that with y'all. And Zay, thanks for reminding me. So we are doing a watch party starting this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's gonna be starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are along those time zones, find your time zone. Friday starting at that time, Saturday and Sunday. And we'll be watching all of the Acolyte details with the link to come as soon as I set up the link, and I'll post it on my Twitter and my Blue Sky Blue app, and y'all. Well,
Yeah, I'm
okay,
excited.
yes, yes. I think that's going to be it for us today. Thanks so much for everybody coming on, for speaking, being awesome. It's great to talk to you every week. We're going to be here again next week, same time, same bat channel. And please go ahead and visit us on the web at savetheacolyte.com. You can also find a link below the space to support me and the rest of the team. If you would like to buy us a coffee, we surely appreciate it. We love talking to you every week, and this has been awesome. Thanks for coming out, guys. May the force be with you.